Hey everyone, it's Ride1940 here, and today we're taking a look at Miltech Simulations MH-60 Romeo. This is a pack of 3 helicopters. It was also made in conjunction with Blackbird Simulations. You get the MH-60 Romeo, you get the Sierra, and then you get the Tango. So the Sierra is looks more like a traditional Blackhawk. The tail wheel's further aft, and you've got 2 cabin doors. They primarily do logistic missions and can transport personnel, and also they can carry some wings and carry the Hellfire missiles. They can't do ASW, and they don't have a big radar like the Romeo has. Then we also get the Tango, which is a Coast Guard variant, basically, of the MH-60 Romeo. It doesn't have all the military stuff in it. You can go do long-range rescues, and in the game, the cabin cockpits, I think, are just the same. They don't show the differences in real life. I think the MH-60 Tango has different display configuration and computer configuration. But anyways, this model looks amazing, and I love the weathering on it. It genuinely looks like what Navy helicopters look like. When I was in the Navy, we had the Bravos and the Foxtrots, and so the Romeo was designed to kind of eliminate the need for the 2 types of Seahawks there. The Bravo, as you guys probably know, had the sonobuoy launcher, which would be this here. It's kind of closed at the moment, but the Bravos couldn't carry the dipping sonar. So the Foxtrots carried the dipper, and usually they operated off the carriers. When I was in the Navy, we would only get Bravos attached to us when I was on the Oliver Hazard Perry class frigate. When I was on the destroyer, I was a Flight 1, so we didn't have an attached helicopter squadron with us. But anyways, this is San Diego. This is North Island Naval Air Station. This is where the helicopters would actually park in this general area. You see the city in the background there, and that's San Diego International in the background over there. We'll go fly by the 1 bit of scenery that you get in the pack. I think you get 4 total. You get a couple Coast Guard air stations and a couple of military bases, 1 in Australia, 1 in Spain. I think the other Coast Guard stations in Alaska, and there's 1 here in San Diego. So we'll fly by the 1 here in San Diego. We'll do a tour around the bay or around the area, but primarily this is going to be a video to talk about how the flight model is in this thing, because visually this thing is stunning, and the sounds in it are amazing. They're made by Echo 19, so you know it's going to be genuine. The noises when you start the aircraft up just make you feel alive as the thing's coming alive, and it's a great way to get into the helicopter and get immersed in it, hearing the sounds as you would if you were the air crew. So sound's really important to me, obviously, because I was a sonar technician. I love sound, and so seeing that in in an add-on is just a great thing. So let's get started here. We'll go fly around. Alright, one of the first things we want to check is how does this thing handle on the ground? Okay, so we've got the tail wheel unlocked and the parking brakes not set, so now we can go ahead and roll around. If I add a little bit of collective, there we go. So the aircraft's moving forward, and it should, because the MH-60s, they have their rotor system is tilted forward at like 3 degrees or something. It's not uncommon for helicopters to do that, so really just add a little bit of collective in. You don't need any cyclic to push yourself forward. It'll just start rolling. And we can see we can ground handle pretty nicely. If I pull up on the cyclic, I'll bounce, but it's not like something crazy erratic. I was just kind of shifting the weight around on the wheels and the suspension, which feels good. All right, we'll go taxi over to this helipad here, and then we'll do a quick hover and see how that feels. So while we're getting set up here, let's talk about what we need to look at. So you got the torque here, 1 and 2 for the engines, and then you've got your MP 1 and 2, and then they're tied in the center. There is the NR. So NR is going to be our percentage of main rotor RPM. So think of that as like 100% is what the helicopter's striving to do with its systems. Most modern helicopters, you don't have to adjust the throttle at all. You essentially want it to be max throttle, and it's going to be governed by the computer systems to output more power from the engines, to maintain that 100% RPM for the main rotor, or take away power if you've adjusted your collective in a way that reduces the strain and needs for power. So it'll make more sense when we start flying. Okay, so we'll do a quick little hover and see what. All right, so about like 35-ish on the torque. Okay. So one of the other things I want to check now is what happens if I just blast up, pull the collective all the way back. I should climb really rapidly, but what you see that the NR spiked to yellow and it actually went over 100%, which doesn't make sense to me because the torque should increase as it is right now, but the main rotor RPM should actually drop off. Now the reason it should drop off is because I'm asking a lot from the engines at the moment in the transmission to give me power to keep the helicopter climbing while I've got full collective in. So I've increased the pitch of the blades to the max set that they can go, so they're taking a big bite out of the air, and what that's doing, it's creating a lot of drag. So the engine has to overcome that and the transmission has to deal with that, so that the torque would increase. At the same time, we wouldn't have enough power available to just maintain this 100% main rotor RPM. It should drop off as the engines get adjusted to that. So they just seem to be pegged around 100, 101, which is a little strange. Now, what happens if I dump the collective?
Power!
So I can't really, the cyclic doesn't, it'll rotate the aircraft and stuff, but I can't really glide and fly the rotor system, fly the rotor disc at all. I have to add the collective back in. And also that should have, if you can imagine, I put max collective in. See all that? That should increase the torque, right? And that should also increase the, or lower the main rotor RPM. It doesn't really seem to have effect. But if I was to dump the collective, the main rotor RPM actually should probably spike up, because what ends up happening is all of a sudden you took all that strain that was needed on the engine away, and the engine's computers will have a little lag there. It's going to try and maintain that 100% for NR, and what ends up happening is it spikes a little bit until it catches itself and kind of pulls its power back so that you can get back down to 100%. It doesn't really respond that way, so if I add all that torque in, I take it away, yeah, it kind of just stays around 100. So
Power!
the other thing here is this helicopter now is just in a nosedive, and I have to put the collective back in just a little bit to catch myself.
Pull out!
It should not do that. If I dump the collective, I should still be able to fly underneath the rotors there and just kind of glide around. Obviously, when you're trying to auto-rotate, if you take power away, you set the collective to kind of control your rate of descent, and there's kind of a number that you want to hit depending on the aircraft. But you can glide safely down to the ground. If I take the collective out and just have a little bit in, you end up just falling pretty hard. We're in a nose down, cyclics all the way back. I'm not getting that response. I just add a little tiny collective in and I can pull out amazingly. So this Bitch and Betty thing is quite annoying, and you can't really turn it off. I thought there was a setting in the comm menu here that I adjusted. If you go down to auditory control, see, I've got the GPWS off and I've got the ICS off, so no one should be saying anything to me, but that just cannot go away. I really wish there was a way to disable that. If there is, let me know, because it's quite annoying when you're trying to fly around at low level and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the main thing I don't like about that. It's quite annoying. Now let's go ahead and take a quick look around the Coast Guard station you get. This one's actually pretty neat because this station, I drive by it. Like, I used to drive by it almost every day when I was working, living in a different area, going to work. So I drive along Harbor Drive here, which is this main road here, goes along the airport, and there's a Coast Guard station right there. Oh, look Look at the long line of planes there at San Diego International. That is very realistic. Alright, so we got the Coast Guard station down there. This is, it's pretty cool because in the past, they don't do it anymore, but there's a gate and you can actually, they sometimes used to bring in C-130s, the Coast Guard versions, and there's a gate right across the street there that they'd have to actually cross Harbor Drive to hover over. Let's see if I can just get an external view going. Yeah, so there's a crossing over here. You can see that across Harbor Drive there, the driveway, and this would open up and the planes could taxi out from the airport and go down to the Coast Guard station. And they haven't really done that anymore. I think it's just permanently not a feature. In fact, San Diego Airport just has a new expansion for Terminal 1, so there's actually a new road that's been built all the way over here that goes past along all this, and there's Terminal 1 that's been built out some. Alright. Yeah, that station looks pretty accurate. And we can do our Coast Guard missions from there. So let's see what else we can do here in this helicopter. This is swinging around quite a bit. There we go. Alright, so let's try and do like an out of ground hover. See if the torque requirements are different. So we want to slow down. Go. Alright, get our ground speed as slow as possible. Alright, we're essentially hovering now. Alright, there we go. Let me move myself cyclic forward a bit. What I want to see is a difference between an out-of-ground hover for the torque. So it looks like around, like, you know, in the 80s there for the torque to maintain a hover out-of-ground effect. Yeah, that looks to be around 80, and we're generally hovering. So now let's go take it over to ground effect. I think usually for ground effect it's generally the diameter of the rotor system, so if you're underneath that height you should feel some bit of ground effect, and obviously the closer you are the more you should feel it, the closer you are to the ground. Alright, so let's slow it down here, turn around. Let's go over to that spot. Alright, so we're at 13 feet off the ground, 12 feet there. Alright, and it looks like it's about like 45 with the torque. We're in a hover at 12 feet. That's pretty good. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so that's good. Remember when we took off, I think when we were just right off the ground, we said it was about like the 30s on the torque when we're trying to hover. Come out this way. One of the things I could not get working, and I want to see if it will work. There's a like a trim like hold, but have not got that to work. think all we need is these 3 on, and then if we were to hold the there's a specific button that you have to keybind. I forgot what it was. Like, I think it's release marker or something like that, or sound marker, I don't know. But anyways, you hold that and then you can change your attitude and then you release it and it should maintain it. And I just can't get it going. I don't know what's wrong. I've looked at the manual. The manual's all online, so you can read through it. There are some things that are missing because it doesn't actually mention this comms menu really in great detail what these buttons do. It just says to come back in 24 hours and see if it's been updated, so I don't know. But it does have a good segment on there for the trim system, but it's just I can't get it to work. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Alright, so let's go. So I've got max collective in now. It's nose down. Yeah, see that voice for the ground warning system is just really annoying. Right now we're passing a sub base, which is at Point Loma. They've got quite a few submarines here, and then they've got some facilities to repair them. So we'll go out this way. What I'm trying to see here now is if the temperature is going to increase, if we'll overheat, because we're going like full power. We do see the temperature is rising, so that's good. Let's see if we can overheat it. Oh, there are a lot of birds. Oh man. I don't know if that's an add-on or if that just comes with the game. Because I do have a birds add-on, but they add like pigeons and stuff to the airports, kind of walking around and stuff and flying around the aprons. Yeah, it looks like we're still safe. We're at 780 now for the temperature. Big old amphib over here. Yeah, I don't see the temperature exceeding this. We will roll left, thank you very much. Let's fly upwards. The roll in this thing is actually not great, and if you watch videos of Blackhawks, like doing nap of the earth flying and that kind of stuff, they can maneuver pretty quickly. There's a guy, his name is Snackpack. He's got an excellent YouTube channel. He is a UH-60 instructor pilot. He used to be in the Army, and I think now he just does that as a civilian, but I could be wrong. He might be in reserve as well. I'm not sure, but go check his channel out. He actually talks about what the roll rate should be and how it should feel. He's offered to be an SME for this aircraft, so I think that Miltech should definitely take him up on that offer, because he has identified all the, you know, from his experience, the way that this thing should roll. With a few seconds of input, we should be on our back, basically. We should be upside down. So he's identified all that stuff. He's willing to help them out, so I hope they take them up on the offer, because visually this aircraft is just very impressive. The sounds are amazing too, so those two things add to the immersion quite a bit. The only downside is that the rotor RPM and that kind of stuff just isn't right, and falling out of the sky like this, it's not how it should be. I don't know if that's a limitation of Microsoft Flight Sim, but I have not seen, I think, any helicopter be able to do auto rotations or basically fly the disc. They just seem to fall out when the collective goes away, and that's just not how it should be. Yeah, so, and I've noticed in other helicopters as well, they do have problems with the torque, what they should be versus what the engine's being asked to do. So yeah, but I think that's it. Let's go ahead and land. It's really cool because if you live around San Diego Bay, you'll definitely see all these guys flying around. You'll see well, you'll see the new Ospreys too that the Navy's got. All right. man, I've got like max aft cyclic, and I've put the collective in really low to try and get the thing to come around, and it is just really sluggish in how it feels when it's turning and slowing down like that. So yeah, if we take the I think if we take the trim out, it should be pretty responsive, but it kind of feels the same there. Yeah, it feels like this should slow down a lot more at this attitude, and the collective input that I put in, it's slipping through the air quite a bit. So if you push the pull the cyclic back like that, get all that drag, and you're going to start lifting because you're basically flying the disc upward. So you need to lower the collective to maintain the same altitude, even though you're increasing the attitude of the aircraft. And that should slow you down quite a bit, and it doesn't feel right. It feels like it wants to just keep going. There we go. I think this is good enough for government work, right? There we go. All right. Then we can go ahead and pull our park and brake up. Oh, we had the tail wheel unlocked. Definitely want to have that locked when you're taking off, I guess. But oh well, we survived. Oh, there was another thing that I didn't notice initially, and I saw Snack Pack notice it. If you look at the radar altimeter here, or the standby altimeter, it's going up by like tens of feet, and that should be hundreds of feet, right? So we're at about 20 feet right now on the radar altimeter, and you can see it. We're up to 50 feet now on the radar altimeter, and it's going up by hundreds of feet there. So it looks like it thinks we're at 800 feet. And when we cross over to that should be 1,000 feet there on the standby altimeter, and we're at like 100 feet, so it's a little off. I don't really look at that one, however, just pointed that out. So Snack Pack had noticed that. It's just, for me, it's easier to look at the main display there. Yeah, so let's put it down on the road and let's get fired by our CO. This is actually, if you guys don't know, North Island, I think it was this year, earlier in 2025, there was an EA6 or EA18 Growler took off, and it had some sort of problem, and it basically chucked the air crew. There's two people on those planes. They're an electronic attack aircraft. They had to eject when they tried to come back to land. Something just wasn't right, and then they yeeted their plane across the bay, and thankfully it didn't hit these gigantic gas storage facilities or fuel storage facilities that the Navy has over here, or into this big office area. The plane just narrowly missed it and hit the very end of the water there, and they had to recover it. Oh, we got a car coming towards us. That's our fault. We're in the road. So yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments about this thing, let me know below, and I'll try to get to them as soon as possible. Once again, this is Miltech Simulations MH-60 Romeo. It is, I think it looks like a great model there. It looks very realistic. The sounds are amazing. I've said that a million times. It's just a flight model, needs some help. Snack Pack has said that he's willing to help them out on that to get it to be a little bit more realistic. I don't buy the whole disclaimer thing that Miltech Simulations had put on their product page for this product, that it's not trying to be realistic, because they go ahead in the same product page say that this flight model has been validated by MH-60 SMEs, and so it's realistic, and they say the cockpit is very realistic and the systems are realistic. They keep using the realistic word, but they don't want to, but it's kind of like a cop-out saying in the disclaimer, well, we're not trying to be realistic. Well, if you're not trying to be realistic, do not advertise the product page like that, okay? That said, the systems, like the pages that you can use, they seem realistic. The cockpit layout seems very realistic. Everything is where it should be. The only thing is that we need to get the flight model, and the rotor needs to behave more true to life, I think. For a product that's like close to $40, it's $37 without any discounts. should be a little bit better. Okay, but yeah. So regardless, I am being a Navy guy and seeing these things fly around San Diego Bay for my entire adult life. I'm very happy to have one of these in Microsoft Flight Sim. I think Miltech is also going to bring in the CH-53, which is a helicopter I love so much because I live pretty close to one of the air bases that Marines have a ton of those at, and I hope that they get the Echo 19 sound treatment because those things sound really cool when they're flying overhead. They just really sound like a low droning noise, big lumbering aircraft. It's amazing. They're amazing to see flying, so I'm looking forward to flying one. And when we get that, I'll definitely make another review video on that, so you guys can make your decisions. But yeah, so let me know if you have any questions or comments below. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.